So welcome back to a brand new video. I believe we're on part 6 here of the Beginner Chess Lessons video series. So I do want to say that we are now at 1,000 rating, which is towards the high end of the beginner level range of ratings. So they say about 1,200 is the average player. So, and we've worked our way up quite a bit. We've seen advance in skill levels. We've talked about especially our opening principles, but some attacking, some defending, a little bit of everything and thought process. So I'll probably conclude this video series when I reach 1,200 on this account. Definitely record some videos higher up after that, but it wouldn't be as kind of tutorial based. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, and with that I want to start the first game. And watching back the last video, I did want to comment on one of the biggest difficulties we see with beginner players is that consistency, where you're still just getting used to the game in many ways. So playing a game that's 50 moves long without making any really bad mistakes that'll lose you the game can be difficult because you're really just not used to playing that much yet. So that is one thing that'll separate more experienced players from beginner level players, is that ability to game after game play consistently. So it's extremely difficult to do, and you can play a whole game nearly perfect up until move 35, move 40, move 50 even, and one mistake then will lose you the game. So it can be extremely unforgiving. All right, so to focus on the game a little bit here, we saw a fairly normal looking opening, no sacrifices, anything like that. We're both still developing our pieces and attacking the center. And I would say we're about even here. I don't think anyone has a material advantage or anything like that. Okay, so my opponent just got his last minor piece developed, that dark square bishop. So maybe I'll play here next and try to do the same. I'm sorry, maybe I'll play here next. This one is technically developed. It's off the back rank. So we're in the middle game here. We're still going to try to fight for the center, maybe try to win material, but really just try to have a better position that'll convert to something better down the road. So again, this is not particularly dynamic, though I think we may have just been able to win a tactic, because what I'm seeing is knight takes, and then if he takes there, knight takes again, and then probably rook takes and rook takes, and I end up up a knight. So let's see if that's what happens. But if he just takes there, then I take there, he takes there, then we're even. So it's depending on how he does this, but we do want to make it as complicated as possible on him. But what we can also do here, so he'll take, or maybe he'll take the rook first. But we'll win this pawn. A little bit of compensation. So again, this is when you have a middle game that's very even, like this one. Those are the type of things we see. So he's going to go ahead and attack that. I don't want to put it here because of the bishop. He obviously has the option to take his rook, but we're kind of just grinding it out here. And this is one way where you can establish the more skilled player is the person that can often make the better moves in these type of grinded out positions, because that's what a lot of chess can be. So he takes his knight back. I'm going to threaten it here. He can go here. It will attack the rook, but it's not going to do anything long term. So maybe I'll trade off rooks pretty soon just so I can get him out of this habit of this. But actually, we're okay because I believe this knight is now trapped, but he has the option of taking to save it for now. And if he does not, I have to take first before I can take that, because if I say rook here, it's not hanging, but I'd have to bring the bishop back, and that would be ugly. So gotta continue to consider almost all things here. Okay, so he is attacking the knight. We want to put it in a safe place. I can't move there because that's not how knights move. Could this be getting trapped very soon? Seems possible. That, but I can do this. So it ends up as a trade. And if he moves the bishop back, then I move the knight back. A little bit of creativity there, but sometimes that's required. It's an art and a science. It's an interesting move. And I do see a fun tactic here that I had before, which I wasn't really seeing. I moved the pawn there. Okay, so let's try it now. If we move the pawn here, bishop here attacks both the king and the knight. Although I could just take it. Okay, so the one thing we really need to look out for now is obviously this pawn. But I don't think we'll have too much difficulty getting it off the board because we are up a piece, a minor piece I should say, with that bishop. Okay, so he'll look to trade things off. If he wants to trade the rook, we will be very happy to. Don't imagine he will, but we're going to try to get our king involved here and then get the rook, get the rook up. And then take with the rook. He takes the rook, and he's looking to avoid this, but I don't believe he can. Alright, so to be clear, rook here, get the king over to there. Oh, I could have just taken that. Actually, if I took, it would have been... yeah. There is a fun trick here, though. So if I can get him to take there. So I think next move I'll go here. Oh, okay, it doesn't work anymore. What I was going to say, going back, while his king was still back there, if I had gone here, he takes the pawn, bishop here attacks both the king and the rook. So we're looking for attacking opportunities here when we're up that rook. I'm sorry, that knight, that bishop, one of those. We can find a couple opportunities like that. So yeah, the focus is still getting this pawn off the board because it's so close to becoming a queen. And that may really end it for him. He's almost forced to trade. We're going to defend that pawn. We're going to work our way in to get rid of these guys and get our pawns up the board. This is a good endgame for instruction here because when you're up just by a bishop, color of the squares is incredibly important. And here we have a dark square bishop, meaning it can only go on dark squares. So he's going to try to put his pawns on light squares. And we're going to try to take advantage of the fact that we can control dark squares only. So what I'm going to do is put this bishop here to protect that pawn. And he can't go too far away because if he does, I'll start running that pawn up the board. But now I'm going to bring my king in and try to take those pawns that he has. So he's going to try to move back to fight me, but he can go here. I'm going to be a step ahead in attacking the pawns. So I'm going to win either 1 or 2 here. And the reason I say that, okay. Now he's just defending. He realizes that he's done. So I could have gone there. Okay, he's going to resign because he sees that there's no way that he can defend everything. So good game to my opponent, and let's play on. All right, so we have the white pieces this game. We'll play e4. My opponent will play b6. We'll play d4, a little more aggressive. So I'm comfortable in this video doing a little more attacking than I have been because we've really established the opening principles. So now I want to try to elevate that a little more and talk about attacks that I'm seeing and things like that because they are tactics, and attacking are a huge part of every level of chess, but especially beginner chess, because one tactic can win you the game without a doubt. What do we want to do here? Let's develop the bishop. So he has his queen in the file here. I don't think anything's too dangerous yet, but at the same time we'll still play it safe and get something to cover so he doesn't get a free check that could turn into something. let's just take there. Yeah, it's got all sorts of stuff protecting there. The only thing I don't like is we're going to have to play knight there, I think. But we'll get it out of that way quickly, and he's not going to be able to take it. Normally, if he had the bishop there, he would. But we'll get it to safety. Maybe even swing it back to over there. Going to bring that pony on a little journey. We see a fairly even position here. Mine's a little awkward looking, but I don't think that makes it bad. I especially don't think my opponent will be able to capitalize even if it was bad. So really our priority here is to develop this bishop. So he plays that. The grand old question of do we care? I don't think we do quite yet. Alright, so we're attacking his queen. Bishop is defending this knight. And let's see what he wants to do about it. And we'll have to consider maybe taking that pawn after, but we're also want to make sure this bishop gets defended. There is a lot to juggle here, but sometimes in chess you got to take things move at a time. And as much as we want, we do have a plan that may not be a clear order of moves because we don't know what our opponent will do. So the other thing to question here is if pushing that is a bad move. I don't think it is. But I think taking there is fine because he has 1, 2, 3, and I have 1, 2, 3. But he can, I was about to say, he can just do that. Okay. So that putting a pawn there really ends that chain. He can try to attack it, I guess, but I'm not going to even, it's a lot of effort to put in. Now if we can take that knight, that would be great because it would open up his king. So down the road especially, it would hurt him as long as we can keep the queen on the board. The reason I say that is when the king gets opened up, the queen is usually the piece that will have the best attacking chances there. So he sees that. Let's see if we can pull a fast one on him. But even if we do not, this will still help to open up more attacking chances. Like he could play there to block that. Then we can put that knight there, which would be a great square, just hanging out, invading his fortress, posted up, just hanging. Well, hanging around, not hanging like can't be taken. Okay, so let's maybe weave our way in a little bit because I don't see a clear weakness in our position. But first, let's get that bishop to a safer square, and we'll be eyeing down. So we're using these bishops as snipers here, and they're getting good attacking chances. All right, let's move the queen over. I like queen here next, and the reason for that is I can take that knight, and he can't take back because this pawn will be pinned because the queen will be staring down the king. So if he takes, I'll probably take back. Or, yeah, yep, okay, so he's giving me an opportunity to come here freely now. So obviously this knight can't move, not that it even has anywhere to go, but this would be immediately checkmate because the queen would be attacking the king, and the queen would be protected by the bishop in this long diagonal. Interesting. So we're trying to get our queen moving. We'll go all the way back because that pin is still active that way. Then again, our next move is really going to be looking to take here. Maybe soon we try to get that knight involved. Okay, so he doesn't see that. So he can play pawn up, but obviously he's down a piece now. And we're just going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, all in the attack. He never developed this knight. This bishop is in a terrible square. It can't protect anything. The queen is pretty inactive. He owns this file, but the question is what that's worth, and it's hard to argue it's worth much right now. So now we'll just look for the checkmate. Although we didn't have to move that just yet because he wouldn't be able to take it, but The closer we can get these pieces in towards his king, the better. But I see a nice little trick here. Maybe if we put the bishop back to here, knight there wins the queen. Let's try that, because I don't see something too quick on how to do this attack. And again, these bishops don't need to be right next to the king to be working and effective. Okay, so he gave us this, so we're going to take it. Checking the king, attacking the queen, also attacking the knight, but we're going to take that one. Okay, so he's attacking the bishop. We'll move that out of the way. We're going to attack his knight. Can play queen there. There's all sorts of trouble for him. Oh, that looks like a free piece, so we're attacking king and knight. Can play rook there, but it doesn't stop us. And he's going to go ahead and resign. So good game to my opponent. Seeing some strong attacking here from our side, which is always good. But we're still trying to stay sound with our principles, which is very important. So e4, c5, knight f3, e6, and then we have d3. So I'm going to go ahead and attack the center and get these pawns moving. And then focus on 1, 2, get those developed. So we could see that, we could see this, we could see that, or that. That works too, although it blocks in the bishop for at least another move. We'll probably go here next, because we don't want to put it here to block off that pawn. So he's getting an attack going, so if he goes here, we're going to want to take, that way he doesn't win it outright. So he is attacking it there, but we'll just go ahead and push that pawn forward. Okay. Go ahead and castle. A little bit of a pin here, but nothing too strong. We're going to do the same. And then maybe we'll try to bring our knight in. Oh. Okay, so we'll give him that. These C pawns sometimes can be given up without too much consequence in this point of the game. Okay, so he'll probably take, we'll take back. He's doing a lot of moving around and not a lot of developing, so this could definitely work in our favor. But if he doesn't take soon, then I might want to move this bishop back, or to a better place. And I think now's the time to do that. Maybe we'll put it there on f8 to just give a little extra defense. Okay, so this will definitely be a little more of a patient game, but that's okay. He's up a pawn. We're not going to be too concerned. I'm not going to argue that it's going to be a strong pawn. And do we have a tactic here? I think we just might. What happens if we do that? Can't move the knight because the queen's there. So I think we might be getting a free piece. Can go queen here, which would be attacking there. Does he see that as the question? This is the kind of rating level where he could or he could not. He does, good for him. But we'll then go here to attack that one. So we have two knights that are under attack now. Or he has two knights, I should say. We are attacking two of his knights, both of them. So we're in move 17, and what went from a position looked like we have to grind it out, looks like one that we could be winning material very quickly by still playing sound and kind of fundamental. And we normally wouldn't call this a developed knight, I'm sorry, bishop. Apparently I have a lot of trouble telling the difference between the two, but it's playing defense. It's protecting our king, so we don't have an issue with the placement of that. And he's thinking hard because unless he's a super genius, I don't see a great way to protect either of these, but he'll definitely lose one. So he could consider, okay. That doesn't do anything. Left that, I'll take. And then this rook will be protected by that. So he's kind of fishing right now. So Maybe if he's creative enough, we'll come up with something, but... Okay, so let's think about this. Takes. I want to take with that. Oh, that might be a problem. Did we get ourselves in trouble? I think we might have. Okay, so we have to play a really ugly move there. Otherwise, he would have had checkmate there. And now we go here. And we just try to trade off queens. So that wasn't ideal. Again, we won the piece there, but just have to do some quality defending here. Oh. Did we lose a queen? I think we did. Okay. We'll carry on. We'll play on here. I think this is still winnable, but our king is obviously in clear danger. Alright, so we'll fish around a little bit like he was doing. We don't want to give him free trades or anything like that at this point. This is a weakness, but our king is not in a good position to exploit it. Or any of our pieces for that matter. I mean, we can go knight here, get a little closer, but like ideally we want to put a rook here and help attack, but again, with the king being where it is, that's a tough thing to do. Okay, so we can now at least go up. I do see a nice little trick. I don't know if that works. How do I want to do this? Go rook there. I can't put anything there because there's a lot of pieces defending it, but I mean, if he wants to draw, I think we can accept that at this point. He's up 7 points of material. We don't want to give him a good opportunity to bring this rook in, so we're going to avoid that. And if we repeat and get a draw out of it, we can live with that. This actually would be a good outcome at this point. Okay, so we'll try to get these rooks opened up, and we'll give our king a little bit more room to move around as well. So he saw that. Okay, we'll attack. Try to make something happen here. He goes like there. We have check. Rook over wins a queen. And he is running out of time. Okay, so he can take, and I'm okay with that, just because of the time. I think our best hope of the win right here is to win on time. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier with consistency, is it is tough to play games at any rating level all the way up and win every single one of them. See, he's missing moves here too, so this is going to help us quite a bit. But it's tough to just continuously play and not miss a single move. You know, I don't think humans are really even designed to do that. Computers, yes, but humans, no. Okay, so he can take and make that exchange if he wants to, but he's really running out of time. And if I can pull off that next, yeah. Go ahead and do that. He's going to move that out of the way. And we're going to win a queen. So, nice little tactic there. Obviously, that was a concerning situation, but I think losing the queen there, and despite us being down in exchange and a ton of pawns here, this is likely something that he's not going to be able to convert in the next 10 seconds. So that check doesn't do anything for him. That might do something for us. Takes. Okay. Play check us. Okay, so good game to my opponent. Play on. That's what we do. So it wasn't the best game, and I was actually looking forward to having a game like this in these videos because that's what happens. Like I was saying earlier, I just want to reinforce the idea that nobody is perfect. You can be the better player, but that doesn't mean you have the better game. It means you could miss a move or two, or your opponent plays extremely well, which I give my opponent credit there for doing because he found a couple of follow-ups that I didn't see, and it led to an advantageous position for him. But when you face those type of challenges, what you have to do is stay strong. Unless there is just zero chance you're going to win, you fight on, you play solid moves, and, you hope for the best. And, we played a trick to give us a better position there right at the end. Not better, but to improve our position compared to how it was looking before. And our opponent wasn't able to capitalize, and we were able to get the win. But it is a part of life. We all make mistakes, and as a beginner player, never get down too hard on yourself for having a game that doesn't go the way you want it to. That is something that I want to reinforce because the only way you're going to improve at chess is by making 1,000 mistakes, just like our opponent is just did right there, giving us a free piece. But it's a very, very, very real part of the game. You're not going to get anywhere without making mistakes, and I always I always recommend new players, they try new moves, do things they haven't done before, and part of doing that too is making mistakes and finding out why things do not work. Part of doing that is that mistake. So, all right, so I'm going to do a little more talking about the game here. So we're up a piece, we're following our opening principles, and it led us to a better position. Our opponent blundered a piece there. So now we're going to look at that pawn and try to take that. We're very satisfied with trading off here, but we may have to do a little better. Do we see any tricks here? Not immediately, but maybe we can weave into something. When you have a better position, sometimes the tactics just kind of flow. You put the pieces in good positions even if you don't see anything immediate. I don't know why he did that. That's going to lose him a piece, I'm pretty sure. Even if you don't see anything immediate, something can happen very quickly. So we're going to be up 2 pieces here if he takes back with the queen, but it is possible he resigns very soon. Okay, so good game to my opponent. Yeah, it's just taking things a little bit slower than he did and making sure you have your bases and your pieces covered, which he did not, and that's how he can play better there. So I'm going to slow down a little bit and talk about the opening a bit more, but it is somewhat repetitive to what we've been seeing. E4, C5, at f3 I played e6, that move we really like, and then bishop c4. So we'll put that d5 pawn in the center, we'll trade pawns there. We're going to attack that bishop now. He's going to check us there. That was obviously check, and we're going to block with the knight. We'll take back, so now we have these pawns protecting each other, but we do have these stacked pawns. So this is a position we've probably seen a handful of times. Not sure what he's doing here. He could be attacking there. It's not a strong attack, but we'll let him do it. He cannot play queen here. Will he try? Is that what he was intending? So he did pin... Yeah, he did pin our knight torquing there. And I see a nice little trick. Oh, okay. So yeah, we put him in check here, and I'll try to do a couple more of these, but pause the video. I know I've done this a few games ago, and tell me what move I'm about to make. It should be pretty clear. It's simple, and it's attacking, and it should win us a piece. So the move is pawn to d4. This bishop is pinned. This bishop is pinned to the king. He can't move it. So I move that pawn forward, and I can take the bishop next move. So he sacrificed one piece, and he is losing. He's in a losing position, I should say. So I do see a tactic I think we can pull off. I think we can go bishop here, king takes, knight here, which will be protected by our bishop, and then queen there. Should be a lot of trouble for him, so let's do that. Let's see if he takes. Yep. Oh, it's pinned. Okay, so this is why we need to do a better job looking around. We'll move out, and then we'll go there. I knew I was forgetting something. But we're still up a piece, despite that, and the tactic is probably still going to be there. Okay, now let's do it. So again, knight protected by the bishop, queen here. Play queen there next move, and his king cannot go to this square because it's being attacked by the knight. So that is likely game. Again, we'll give our opponent the opportunity to defend. Obviously, he gets that. It's his turn. And then also to look, that knight can attack that pawn if he were to find some godly defense here. Okay, that's fair. Gave up the queen to defend. So we'll have to play out the game. We'll just try to make some exchanges like that. Interesting. We'll try to make some exchanges to just finish things off. I was about to say he cannot do that. Because now this is pinned. All right, let's make this hurt for him. Okay, quickly, let's just do that. So this is pinned. He can't move it. So I can take that. Still pinned because of that now. But let's trade one off for now. And let's get the other rook involved. So he could play that. But instead, I'll just do that. I'll pin it and I'll force him to trade. And then I do this. And then we take his pawns. And then we get ourselves another queen. And then we win the game. So he goes ahead and resigns. And good game to my opponent. So it looks like we'll have about one more game in the video. We're just over 30 minutes now, so it'll time out perfectly. E4, and our opponent plays E6. We haven't seen this too much. I'll play D4, attacking the center a little more aggressively than I have been. We'll trade pawns, and this is called the French Exchange. I haven't really been naming the openings, but ironically I'm pointing this one out because it is a little bit boring. It can get dynamic. Maybe we can see a similar sacrifice here, but it's not always the most fun positions you see out of it. So we are attacking the center. Got everything hanging out in the center here. And he's attacking this. We have a pin going on, kind of a pin going on there. We're going to move this rook over. Look out for that. Oop, that could be trouble for him because if we play rook over next, he's going to have to sacrifice, I think, that knight. Yeah. So playing sound here is very important. If he castles, we take the queen. All right, we'll play one more game. That one didn't last too long. It looks like we win the queen. I'm not sure we do. He can play rook there, I take, and then he moves his queen somewhere out of the way. But I'm definitely winning a piece very early on. All right, so last game here. Thank you so much for staying all the way through here. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, leave a like to the video, and let me know in the comment section if there's something else you would like to see. A type of a study, a theme, maybe attacking, defending, time management, all things like that. All right, so I know we've talked about the opening principle many times of not trying to move the same piece more than once. So when I put that pawn forward to attack, he has to move it again, but this is not the square for that. So we'll just move another pawn because we'd have to do that soon anyway. Now we'll have that, but I think he might even be trapped. He can't go there, he can't go here, can't go there, can't go there. The pawn there, so he can take. Actually, no, just take. Yeah, I think he just lost a piece in the opening. Very early on, we are now in move 5, and he seems to have that lost. So he's going to sacrifice it. He wins a pawn out of the exchange, but that is not good compensation. He'll play bishop there next to attack the queen. Maybe we'll go knight there after, because he could take it, but we could take his queen if he wanted to. We also have that. If he goes like that, we'd actually win the queen. Because the knight would be attacking the king and the queen there. Oh! I must be a psychic. I must be a psychic. Okay, so move 9, that game ended. So in this video, we focused on attacking a little more than the opening principles that I had been focusing on, but I think those really should be instilled in your memory at this point. And as I continue through this video series, I want to focus a little more on attacking. They say chess up to mid 2000s or kind of low 2000s is all about tactics. It's all about attacking. I mean, you obviously have to defend and know how to, but combinations of pieces that are attacking together and things like that are what will win you games. So once you have these fundamentals down, practicing attacking, practicing tactics, really recognizing those patterns, is probably the biggest thing that'll help you to improve. So I want to show more than that. We had a couple of quick games there just because partially from me having experience and some memorization of what's good and what's bad, but also that memorization being based off of principles saying, don't move the same piece too many times or don't bring your queen out too early like we just saw. So a lot of things to take away, really ingrained in your memory, and work to help you improve. So again, thank you so much for watching the video. Stay tuned to see part 7 very soon. We're moving so quickly.